Welcome everyone to this very special season of Let's Talk Value. This is fully dedicated to our latest book written by a set of 5P experts in the field of healthcare change. The book is called The Next Tango, A Patient Guide. And this special season is also specially sponsored by 5P Healthcare Solutions, a boutique consulting firm dedicated to transforming healthcare through value-based healthcare and multi-party collaboration. I'm Hanna Boëthius. I am co-editor and co-author. I've been lucky to be featured doubled of The Next Tango, and I'm also the host for this episode and for you guys. And I am so delighted to have one of my co-authors here with me today. This is the fantastic author of chapter number 3, The Pharma View and the Power of Public-Private Partnership, Nienke Feenstra. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. And you? Excited to be here.
Yay! Thank you so much for joining me for this short little chat to enlighten our listeners and our readers a little bit more about your chapter, which is an important part of the 5P, of course. Let us know a little bit more who you are, Nienke.
I'm Nienke Feenstra. I'm a Dutch citizen currently living in France, and I've been working in the pharmaceutical industry for nearly 30 years now, and the last 10 years at Takeda.
So that actually means that you are a perfect expert to write our pharma chapter for us, right?
I don't know, but I try to bring my experience to the book. It's up to others to see whether they share the viewpoints. I'm very curious to hear the return actually on the chapter and to see if it resonates. That was also one of the reasons to want to try to contribute to the book, to see whether the way I or at Takeda we've approached public-private partnerships, embed the patient voice in the dialogue, whether that resonates, and to start a dialogue on that to advance better together.
Yeah, right. Because it is really important, even for big pharmaceutical companies, to really also listen to what, in the end, that is mentioned in other parts of the book, maybe a little bit more, but who, in the end, is the end customer, so the patient. Do you have any insights on how this is best done?
I don't know. Best is a big word. I just know that when I was a student, I was lucky enough to already interview patients about how they live with their disease and also how the medication impacts them living with their disease. That's not common for pharmacy students. They usually tend to be tied to the bench in the lab. But because I wanted to see what is more out there, I had that opportunity, and that had a major impact on me, and it has never left me. Following those 2 interviews, who I refer to as well in the opening part of the chapter, I quickly realized it's impossible to talk about value in healthcare without including a patient perspective. It's not up to us to say what is better. It's up to the patient to decide what makes them live better and what better actually means. That experience, a statement, I was lucky enough to have that when I was 19. Now at 51, I still aim to at least act accordingly in whatever role I've had. And that was one of the main reasons I wanted to contribute to this book.
That's really wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. That makes you quite the visionary in the field of value-based healthcare, which is what it essentially is, and also making sure that all the parts of the value chain are heard when it comes to something important as potentially life-saving treatments, right?
I don't know. I think I was just very lucky to have that already in my 3rd year of university. I said that was not typical in the. I'm quite sure that anyone else who wants to better health and to contribute to developing science for the benefit of patients who would have that experience would carry that with them, because it is so powerful. So what we can do is to amplify that, to share that, to make sure that more people benefit from that experience.
That's beautifully said. And I guess this is one of the reasons that everyone should read this book.
I hope so.
I hope so. So turning in a little bit more on your chapter specifically, what would you say is the key message of your chapter?
The key message is really to think big, but to start small. We all know that healthcare as it is right now, with the financing behind, with the different silos, it is not sustainable. We know healthcare 5 years, 10 years from now will be delivered completely different, where patients will benefit from differences in diagnosis, a combination of medication and digital therapeutics or digital solutions to increase their quality of life. We don't know yet how that will be recognized, how we will get there. We don't know who will develop what. We also don't know the speed at which we will get there, but we know we will get there. So the only way to get going is to then take small steps in that direction. Think big, what might be. Make everyone dream about that behind a certain vision to see what can be possible. But then not be too afraid by that vision or by that image of what it might be, and start small to have a difference already day after day, and to then, in partnership with everyone else, arrive at that vision. Who knows when? Doesn't really matter as long as we go in the right direction. So think big, but start small.
I love that sentiment. It's a beautiful step, and also if you relate this back to I also seem to remember that you have a visualization of the 7 steps of drug development. That's also a little bit with that, right? Because we all know, or at least it's quite commonly known, that very few molecules and very few medications actually make it to the market after even started being researched. So that's also sort of think big, but start small.
Yes.
So I like I like the way how you relate that back in different ways in your chapter, and I think that's really really beautifully done. I have one favorite quote that if I have to choose one, there you have so many good sayings that you do that you have in your chapter, but my favorite one is really visualizing our patient-centric purpose in a working environment has an impact. It may seem trivial, yet the way we incorporate it by making it personal means that employees can have an impact each and every day. And here comes my absolute favorite part, which is not actually part of the quote, it's part of the next part of the book, but this doesn't have to be complicated.
No.
No.
No, it doesn't.
Easy answer.
It doesn't. Do you want me to give an example how we did that then?
Please.
Please. Okay. For example, what I did when I was in Poland, when we moved offices, because we integrated 2 companies, so we had to redo the offices. I asked the team to come up with a way to visualize really our vision and how we all contribute. They looked into the Japanese heritage of Takeda, where folding an origami bird is part of Japanese culture, that when someone is sick in a hospital, loved ones of the person in hospital tend to write the wishes for their patient on that bird and bring them with them. So we thought, okay, how can we incorporate that? So the team came up. It wasn't me who made it up. That was the team who said, you know what? Why don't we have a tree in the lobby of our office where everyone writes down what they would wish for Polish patients at that time, and hang it up on the tree. And all those colors of origami birds were different shades of orange and red, like the cherry blossom that is so much part of Japanese culture as well. When we opened the office, everyone hung up that bird, and that was sort of the opening ceremony of the office, making everyone connected to what they wish for patients, and that was there. So anytime you enter the office, you saw that. That was for the opening. But afterwards, we did it every month at a town hall, which we also do in France. We open our monthly meetings with a testimony of how someone, directly or indirectly, made a difference in the patient lives. We share that with everyone. And those could also, for example, be written on those birds. And every month you hang up an additional one. And that's also a visual reminder of how we had an impact on a patient life. We're going to move here as well. So as the team, I said, what would work in a French environment? Because every country is different. Every healthcare system is different. So what we wish for patients is different depending disease by disease, but also based on the different healthcare systems, to see what is the best way that we can represent what we really aim for, our mission and vision for patients, in a way that we see every day when we enter the office, so that we're inspired by it. But also when guests come, we can share how we aim to contribute. And we hope to contribute to reaching that objective together with those people who might come visit our office, or who we partner with in and outside of our office.
I really, really, really love that. That is so beautiful. And what a, as you say, it doesn't have to be difficult. It can be
No.
really simple. But what a way to give, both ownership and a little bit of feeling like you're part of something bigger.
Yeah.
Even as I would say simple employee, but uh, uh, just give everyone that chance to feel that, hey, we're really making a difference. And
Yes.
for this person, and for this person, and for this person, it's a little bit like the starfish story in chapter 1. But making a difference for individuals, and also recognizing the people that you do help as individuals. And
Yeah.
I think that's important. But that's, of course, with my very sturdy patient advocacy hat on. So
Yeah, it doesn't have to be difficult. And I think
yeah,
I've never met anyone working in pharmaceutical industry who isn't passionate to make a difference in patients' lives. It's just bringing that to the forefront in a way that's meaningful, and then you're halfway there.
yeah, that's beautifully said. You also mentioned pharma as a proactive partner, which is a little bit what you've talked about right now as well. And I think that's a really nice way of sort of angling it, because there's also a lot of, maybe not everyone is such a huge fan of the pharmaceutical sector
Mhm.
at all times, because of obvious reasons. But positioning um, this P as a proactive partner and making sure that everyone follows that proactiveness, I think that's a really fantastic way of looking at it. So thank you for sharing that in your chapter as well.
But it's important. I mean, if we look also at the progress that's been made over the last decades in oncology survival, it's an
Yeah.
example that's very often used and for good reason. That is thanks to therapeutic innovation. We came out of the
Yeah.
COVID crisis thanks to therapeutic innovation. Rare diseases have gotten treatment. So everyone, the minute they become a patient or have a loved one who is a patient, looks towards it. And as I said, there's so many passionate people waiting, wanting to make a difference. But the past has not only shown good examples. So I can understand that there is sometimes some tension on it, and it might take some time to build the level of confidence and trust we need with all the partners. But I truly believe we need to do it together. Patient associations, providers, payers, policymakers, and the pharmaceutical industries. We need all those pieces of the puzzle to make a difference that is sustainable. And that's why I think the premise of the book, bringing all those 5 Ps together and see how we can contribute, but also what would it take from one P to another to advance better together, I think is great. And the fact that we will be able to speak each other's language better is really needed. That's the only way to get to the level of trust we need to make a meaningful difference.
That is so beautifully said. Thank you for sharing that. That's really wonderful. And I think this is what, I mean, I'm evidently biased, but I think this is what sort of set this book apart from maybe others. Is also that we really have amazing people who really, really know about what they're talking about in each chapter.
Mhm.
And seeing that then come together in this beautiful tango of five, I think that that is extraordinary. How about we shift gears a little bit and we look towards the future? How do you think that we engage with the other P's in 10 years' time?
Oh, 10 years time. That's wonderful. I think 10 years time is easier than next year.
Yes.
In 10 years time, because I'm an optimist by nature, I hope we will indeed dance that tango seamlessly all together with all the 5 Ps to create a meaningful impact that is sustainable in the healthcare system, to have indeed a good impact that patients can count on a lot more value than they have now, so that when a new project is deployed, when a new medication is developed, when a new care pathway in sense large is being developed, automatically all 5 Ps will call, or I don't even know what kind of medium we will have in 10 years' time with the rise of artificial intelligence, might be anything, but get connected in whatever way, shape, or form and say, okay, automatically ask, how can you contribute? And what will it take to collaborate as seamlessly as possible? And that spirit of how can we all contribute is automatic. That will be wonderful. I think we can get there, as said, by making small steps to gain trust, making small steps to see how we deal with data that will be collected along the way in a way that we can all count on, that's reliable. Small steps to learn to see what we do is indeed sustainable. But then, if we all do that and committed to that, I think we can be there 10 years from now.
Wow. I love your optimism. I really hope that we really get there in that amount of time, in that time frame. But it's sort of goes back a little bit to what you were saying before about the trust factor. And it's really about kind of any relationship. You need trust, you need communication, you need
Yeah.
honesty, you need, all of these things. And healthcare, technically, I know it can be made very much more difficultly, but technically is not more difficult than that. As you said, it doesn't have to be complicated.
No, it doesn't. But with the willingness to start and also the willingness to learn from each other and
Yeah,
to be open-minded, I think we can get along further than we might think now.
yeah, fantastic. Um, one last point about your amazing chapter, and then I promise I will let you get back to your busy day. But another thing that you wrote was achieving this vision requires unwavering leadership, a
Yeah.
patient-centered organizational structure, and a fundamental shift in mindset and capabilities. And I think this is, the ultimate one sentence that really, I think, has the ability to bring us forward on this path.
Yeah, I think it needs leadership because it won't be taking the easy choices. We need to deviate from what was classical in an industry, from a classical business model, and dare to innovate. We need to work together with partners in a different way. You need to give trust to someone else and partner around a shared objective in the ways we haven't done before. That takes leadership. That takes a different mindset. Just a mindset, the realization that we cannot do it alone is not a given everywhere. So let's make sure that we drive the discussion, that we get there, and that we pilot and learn along the way. And if it takes several parties to pilot, learn along the way, and the rest to benefit from those learning afterwards, also good. Someone has to start, make the first step. We're very willing to do so. I know all the authors of the book are willing to do so, and that's why we contribute. Let's spread the word, and through that, hopefully, make that movement bigger and bigger.
Wonderful. On that note, thank you so much, Nienke, for sharing your brilliant insights and for being part of our dream co-author team for this book. If you're curious to learn more about how we can support you as neutral brokers in your journey in healthcare transformation, let us know. And we will help you catalyze a diverse set of diverging interests among the 5P here at 5P Healthcare Solutions. Contact us today and see what we can do together to bring this path a little bit further along. Thank you so much, Nienke.
It was my pleasure. Have a nice day.